Hey guys, while we're waiting on the piston ring compressor to come in, I figured we'd go through these cylinder heads. Basically, I sent stripped heads in. My machinist put new valves in. The kids are mowing the grass. And I forgot to take them the competition cam springs, so we'll put those in. So he put the stock springs back in. But these have been through the hot tank. And believe it or not, even going through the hot tank, this was a clean towel when I started. I figured I'd film this so we'd see where this dirt came from. Basically, it came from these two oil galleys. Well, it's one oil galley, two ends. That's the main oil galley that fires the injectors. So, what happened was they got hot tanked. I took all the freeze plugs out, stripped them completely, just took bare castings in, so we have to put the freeze plugs in too. Anyways, we're going to clean these galleys out. And basically, what happens is this oil, it's supposed to circulate throughout the engine. Yes, no, I mean, there's a debate on that, been a debate on that for years. It does circulate. How well? I think that's the debate. And what happens is it tends to get a lot of sediment in here and build up. And this engine had 270,000 miles on it. It's not too bad, but it is there. We'll clean it out. Why leave dirt in a new engine? So basically, I'm using brake cleaner. Just spray it out, hose it out. This is a 2-inch bore brush. I'll just blast it on through there. Spin the brush blade, put it through, and it'll all come out. Let's see how we're doing. Drape a towel over it. Let's see if it can push on through. I don't think it's going to go through, but we'll give it a shot. Let's just push it through. We'll stuff it in there. And drape it over. Drape it over just shreds the towel. Let's push it through. It's like cleaning a shotgun, basically. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's getting there. I haven't seen anybody do this kind of coverage on putting one of these together. So that's why we're doing it. We're going to do every step. And like I said, while we're waiting on the piston ring compressor to come in, we'll go through these. So we're going to have to set, we're putting top cams 910 springs in for stage, well, they call them stage 2, stage 2.5, whatever. Anyway, we're putting new springs in, and they'll have to be shimmed to 125 foot-pounds, or about 120 to 125 is what everybody's using. So we'll shim them to that height, which is about 1.78 inches, and then we'll see how they look. Oh, that looks much better. Alright, let's do it one more time. I think we're actually getting dirt out. Not very interesting, but this is the parts that make the difference. That's much better than our first one. throw a wrench in things here. Clean out the oil. There's oil injector holes. Let's see if I can show you those. Whoops. They are right here on each injector. That's the hydraulic connection to that reservoir. So, stands to reason that we should clean them too. Let me readjust the camera. Okay. So anyways, we're going to give them a shot of this brake cleaner. This will probably add a whole lot more dirt to her. But, hey, clean is clean. When it's clean, we're done. Alright, let's move on. Okay, next is the injector holes. Let's see, I don't think you can see the bottom of that hole real well. There we go. You can see the crap that I've broken loose. That's the old sealer where the injector cup was sealed. And of course there's rust there. Not a big deal. That one I broke it all loose. That one I broke it loose, I think. And that one I have not broke it loose. So we'll clean these up and blow them out. And yeah, it's not a big deal. Just part of cleaning. It's kind of nasty. It's actually a good thing I don't have the what do you call them? The freeze plugs in, frost plugs in these heads. Stuff's flying out of them from cleaning the old injector sealer in there. Injector cup sealers, glue. So now, let's take a look. Now they are, get the light in there. Now they're clean. No injector cup sealer glue. Yep. Okay, the other galley we want to clean is the fuel galley. That runs all the way down the cylinder head and it's tapped into each injector hole. So let's get some brake cleaner in that and run a brush down it. to make sure that bore is clean, I always just shine a light like this. I don't know if you can see that. Down the bore and look there, and then I shine a light in each of these and look down the bore. If you look down, get the camera in here. Let's do it this way. If you look here and then look down this bore, it goes all the way down. You can make sure there's no paper towel or anything left in there from cleaning them. And make sure they're clean also. They should be nice and shiny. Alright. Okay guys, let's talk about what parts are involved here. We've got the injector cups, brass ones from Ford. Loctite 620 to put them in with. This is a riffraff install tool as part of their kit. I highly recommend this set of tools. They aren't cheap, but if you do more than one, you'll appreciate them, especially if you do injector cups in the vehicle. The puller is probably the best puller on the market. It allows you to get in tight spots and pull those cups without any problem. Then we've got the four cups that go underneath the valve springs. New keepers. These are O-rings for these inside the head fittings. I'll show you where those go. These are the two oil reel end plugs, new O-rings. You can buy new plugs, but I didn't see the reason to buy new plugs. We'll just replace the O-rings on the old ones. It's not like the plugs wear out. These are high flow banjo bolts. We'll cover those when we get to them. By the way, I don't think I have gaskets for those, so we may not be putting those in until I get gaskets. The 910 valve springs from Competition Cams, and a shim kit. And somewhere in, oh yeah, here it is. The valve spring micrometer. We'll be using that to set the valve spring height. Pretty simple stuff. Not a lot to do, but kind of time consuming. This is the original plug for the end of the fuel rail, one end of the fuel rail. This is a newer style 7.3 that has what they call the dead head design. It only takes fuel in. There isn't any recirculation except through the fuel bowl, which it's not really that great. So we're gonna redesign that anyways, to get fuel that we need to produce the power we need. So when we get to that stage, we'll work on that. Let's get all these parts aligned and get them ready to install. Seems I missed two plugs. These little tiny ones go on the inside of the oil reel. These are on the outside of the oil reel. So now that I've got all the parts assembled, let's get started. I'm going to do these first. Pull the old O-ring off. There we go. Set that aside. That's the diesel O-rings part number for the two end plugs. You'll need one bag for an entire engine. There's only two on each head, so don't do like I did and buy two bags. Make sure it's clean. Roll that O-ring on there. Hopefully it won't pop and go flying. Give us something to do. It's a little bit tight. There we go. It'll snap into the groove. There we go. Cool. We'll put a little oil on that. Put her in. Okay. This is the oiler off of my lathe. Use that. Okay. thought them old O-rings are baked on there. Alright, let's consult the manual and see what those are torqued to. Okay, so torque spec on these is unknown. I wasn't able to find one. Searched high and low. It's an 1/8 inch Allen wrench socket, so it can't be that much torque on them. And it's O-ring sealed, so I would say getting them good and tight is good enough. So let's move down to the other one. I think that's pretty good. Just as an illustration, these O-rings are really old and really shot. They do not like to give up. The idea is not to stick yourself with this pick. So there we go. And of course, clean the groove. This is just some denatured alcohol. On a paper towel. That's one. It's funny, these kind of that's going to have to use a scratch out on it. These kind of parts aren't listed in the manual as for torque specs, which I find kind of interesting. You'd think they would be. I'll see what I can find on the internet. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. You know, there's a substantial amount of oil pressure on these plugs. So I imagine the torque is pretty decent on them. We'll look that up and get back on it. It's funny. The guys I buy parts from, Riff Raff, Diesel O-rings, we were wondering about the torque spec on these. Check it out. The torque spec is 60 foot-pounds. 60 pound-feet, excuse me. Right there.